Hey guys, welcome back to Dad's Foxbody Garage. Day one of diagnosing, at least that's what we're going to call it. It appears we're pressurizing the coolant system. Just a little recap. A little too much. Seems like we pump all the water out of the radiator into the overflow tank, and a bunch of water down there right now. I don't know what that's all about. So first thing first, consult Professor Google. Using that, I kind of know the basics here. Obviously I've been doing this a while. Found that there's a cylinder leak down tool. Looks pretty cool, cheap. I'm sure it's made in China. Ordered that on Amazon. Came in today. So what that does is it'll tell you a percentage of leak down per the cylinder. Instead of doing a compression check, which just tells you compression, this will pressurize your cylinder. You put it up on top dead center, pressurize it, and then you can listen to see where you hear air escaping, and it gives you a reading on which cylinder's reading what, 10% down, 20% down. And this weekend I have a friend of mine bringing over a compression tester. So with all that going on, I figure, well, I'll start pulling the spark plugs out, because any of you that have GT40P heads know that pulling them out on the driver's side without Mac headers, I guess that's the trick. It takes like an act of God to get these out. I'm gonna have to cut up a socket, because you can't get a socket on them. I could bust the thing in half and then get it out, but want to see this side. I have number 5 out in the back. Number 5 looked fine. And then on the passenger side, I got them all out, and I'll show you what we got here. So 1 through 5. Number 2 was wet. Number 2 was wet with antifreeze. So pretty good indication that we have a problem in number 2. Don't know how bad it is, but at least I know where to start looking, and I still need to get, like I said, the driver's side out. So tempted to change these heads, even though I got about, I got a little money into these heads, just getting them, cleaned up, reground, tanked. I got trick flow springs in them. It took a little bit of work, and they're nice and everything, supposed to perform pretty well, but man, this whole plug fiasco is really a bigger deal than I thought it was going to be. Anyhow, enough of me whining. I'm going to crank up the a little grinder and make myself a socket so I can get the rest of these out. I don't imagine there's any bad ones on this side. I'm kind of torn, thinking in my head. I'm like, well, I'm probably gonna deck the head. Should I deck both of them? I mean, I'm only gonna be taking off a couple thou. It's not even gonna hardly register on the CC scale, and this one's sealed up and blah blah blah. But I don't know. We'll see how it goes. If I do a compression test and this side says fine, I might just roll with it. Some of you guys don't know, but this engine is, I built this engine from 2 engines basically. Yeah, 2 engines. No, 3. There's three engines worth of parts in here. And they're all good parts, don't get me wrong. I got like an Explorer block, the Mountaineer heads, and the rotating assembly out of another Explorer block. So it's all good stock stuff, but my intention was to get this running, get this with a blower, finish the body, and then I wanted to go kind of crazy on an engine. So this engine wasn't made to be around years and years and years, at least in my mind. I wanted to get some AFR heads on a dart block. That was my plan, and that was going to be the end game. Obviously, that takes money. So that's, down the road. I don't know. I'm just rambling because I'm like, if I just found a good set of heads now, I could throw the heads on now, yank them, and be done. But then I'm going to be over that magic number, 500 horsepower, and then I break the block, and all these thoughts when you're laying in bed thinking, what should I do? Smartest thing to do would just be to pull this thing apart, deck this head, if it only takes a couple thou, leave the other head on and get it running again and start enjoying the car. So I think I'm probably going to stick to that. Thanks guys for all the comments on distributors. Got some really great leads out there. I think the first thing I'm going to do is, since this current distributor will advance too far, and that's probably why I blew the head gasket out of this thing, because I probably rattled it when I had my foot into it. I think I'm going to lock it and then just set it fixed at 25 degrees for now. And I saw a really cool product out there. Was it Precision? Man, if I find it, I'll put a snap of it here in the video. But it's a distributor, all electronic distributor, basically a 2-wire type thing, but it's tunable with your phone. Like you can advance it, you can add boost retard to it. It is really neat. Cost a few bills, but I think that's where I want to go eventually. But in the meantime, I think I'm just going to fix this at 25. It should make it kind of snappy out of the hole and keep me from rattling and blowing head gaskets in the meantime. And the trick is, they say it makes it a little difficult to start sometimes, but if you remember how I wired this thing, I can cut the fuel and I can cut the ignition with a switch. So I leave those off, I crank, I hit ignition, it fires right up. So I think that's probably the route I'm going. But for now, I'm going to start modifying a socket, and that might be all I get to tonight. Modify the socket and pull some spark plugs, because weather's really nice and there's a car group that meets down the road, and I might just take the Stormtrooper out and just have some fun and worry about this when it's 95 degrees in here and I don't want to drive the car. So anyway, I'll talk to you later. Alright guys, so this is what I ended up coming up with. Just your standard spark plug socket, but I whacked almost the whole hex off the back and opened it up all the way down in order to get those plugs out. Like I was saying, not a big fan of these P heads. I had no idea they were going to be such a pain in my butt, but it is what it is. So all the plugs look good. Spin around here to show you. They got that straw color to them. Mind you, the carb has not really been tuned on this. I rebuilt it and just kind of set it up as is. So it can be dialed in a little more. Need a wideband or something to help me with that. So I think the culprit of all this stuff was that distributor. After talking to, after taking it out for the couple test drives and having it rattle on me no matter where I had the timing. Later found out from CJ Pony, their technical guys, they said this distributor has 36 degrees mechanical advance. Well, that's way more than this engine can take. My first run, I didn't really get on it too much. Just kind of part throttle blips. But I was set at 10 degrees. So 10 degrees initial, so that means I was 46 degrees all in. Way too much for any kind of boost, or not. I mean, that's just way too much. Second time I took it out, I had the initial set at 6, so that means I was at 42 degrees, sorry. Again, way too much. From what I've been reading, you know, you want between 28 to 25. You know, if you had 25, I could run 10 pounds of boost on this and not worry about it on pump gas. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to lock the timing. I'm going to open up the distributor, take out the weights, lock everything down so it doesn't advance, and set it at 25. So for starting purposes, when hot, I do have that panel that I made where I can kill the ignition. I can start cranking it and then just hit the ignition and it should fire right up, no problem. Long term, thanks to one of you viewers, you sent me a really cool link on a electronic distributor that syncs to my phone or a computer. And you can pretty much tune it any way you want it. You know, you can set it at 10 initial, which is where this should be, and then 25 all in. It's all controlled mechanically. There's no weights, there's no nothing. Yeah, all electronically. And you can also set up for a boost retard, where, you know, whatever you want, one degree per pound, 3 degrees per pound, whatever you want to do, it will accept that. So very cool, but that's down the road once I sell some more sweatshirts and t-shirts, which if you guys want any, just hit me up. I got a bunch of both stocked up for the Detroit Fox Fest. I'm going to be selling them there. If you live local to Metro Detroit, yeah, I'm happy to meet you somewhere and exchange, you know, some merch for you. And you know, as far as everything else goes, I think I'm going to probably wait until my buddy brings over that compression tester for the car. I want to get numbers off all the cylinders before I pull it apart, and then I'll probably back the white car out, cover it, set up a table, and start, you know, dismantling the top. I think I'm going to try to calculate how many cc's a few thousand, say 5,000 skin cut would be off of a combustion chamber. I should be able to figure that out, because what I understand was these heads were plus or minus 2 cc's. Well, plus or minus 1 cc. They were 60, I might be getting this wrong, but 62 to 64, but you get what I'm saying. And they set up off the combustion chamber to machine these things, you know, from Ford. So in my mind, if I'm taking off, say, 4 thousandths of an inch from that head face, if I calculate the size of that combustion chamber in 4 thou, I don't think it's even gonna mean a hill of beans. What I'm getting at is, if I can leave this other side, the driver's side, sealed up, and if the compression's all good, I want to do that. You know, I'm not making some kind of motor to get like every ounce of power out of it, but I don't want to make it blow up either. But I don't think it's going to mean anything, because I mean, like 4th thou, that's a hair on your head, right? You know, I'm talking my machinist talk here. The thickness of a hair is 4 thousandths. Thickness of a piece of paper, well, it depends on what kind of paper, is, you know, 3 thousandths. So I don't think it's going to make any difference, but I think I'd like to get a cleanup cut on that head. If they come back and say, oh, it took 10 thou to clean that head up, well, yeah, maybe I'm going to pull that other head and have that one done too. You know, there's no timeline on this. I'm just trying not to make more work than I have to. I mean, with the exhaust and, you know, all the accessories on the front of the motor, you know, I'd rather take less apart than I have to, especially if it's only like a couple thou. But I think that's where we're at, and I think, you know, setting that distributor at 25 is going to be safe, and then I don't have to worry about, you know, pre-ignition and all that crap. One thing is, while I have this apart, and being that it's the #1 bank here, I will be able to stick an indicator on the piston really easily and check my timing marker, because that's something that, you know, I just bolted the timing marker on, and you know, there's slotted holes in that thing, you know, so I don't know how accurate that thing really is, but I'll be able to dial that into the balancer, so I know when I set my distributor I'm a good 25, and that should be fine. But that's it for now, I think. The weather's gorgeous. It's in the 70s. It's windy, sunny. It's been that way all week. I think when the traffic calms down a little bit, instead of working on this, I'm just going to take the white car out for a cruise, head down Hines, see if my wife will join me, and just enjoy the weather, enjoy these cars. You know, I'm so glad that I have one that's a driver. You know, I keep toying around the idea to make modifications to it and stuff, but it's so nice to hop in and just drive, you know. The only thing I think I'd change is that maybe the transmission needs rebuilt or something. I just don't like how the shift points are set so low, and, you know, maybe something that shifts a little tighter would be nice. But other than that, yeah, it's just so nice to hop in that sucker and just drive down the road. Oh, I do need to fix the AC, but other than that, well, not me. I'm clueless when it comes to that. I installed it and it doesn't work, so I'm like, meh, I'm gonna have to take it somewhere for that. I don't know. No idea. It's one of those classic air kits, and thought it would be the way to go, but I should have just stuck with factory on that. But everything was all roached out, and it was the old style Freon and all that stuff, so I'm like, well, let's put this classic air on. Piece of cake, right? Yeah, well, not so much. Anyhow, enough of me rambling. I'm gonna enjoy my day, and please like and subscribe. It really helps when you guys subscribe. The more subscriptions I get, the more of a chance I get to monetize and actually be able to afford parts for this thing. Because right now, all I do is rely on you know, extra change and sweatshirt and t-shirt sales, and you know, that doesn't get you too far these days. So anyways, guys, if you have any comments, I always like to see the comments. Comments have been kind of active lately. It's been kind of fun. I always welcome that, and you know, I hope you guys enjoy your Fox bodies as much as I do. They're just even when you gotta take stuff back apart, you know, the gaskets for all this stuff, I just happen to have like a whole slew of intake gaskets up here. I got them at a car show. Was it just last weekend? Good timing. But head gaskets, $30. Got the intake gaskets. Probably get a new can of Spiz for the front and back of the intake, but once you get to this point, it's just a little cheap crap. But thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.